Hi, this is Ali Abbas Zafar and you're watching Bollywood Hungama.
Well, it's a huge privilege to have the blockbuster director with us, Ali Abbas Zafar, Sultan. As we speak, it is Friday, and I think that it's going to cross 100 crores by the end of the day today. Sultan, I'm calling him Sultan. Ali Abbas Zafar, huge pleasure to have you on Bollywood Hungama.
Thank you.
Box office को Sultan तो आप in fact हो ही चुके हैं, इसमें कोई doubt नहीं है. Ali, I must tell you that we are live on Bollywood Hungama Facebook as well. So you like to say something to your fans right now?
I would like to say thank you for all the support that the audience has shown for the film. And I hope we continue doing this again and again every Eid.
No, absolutely. In fact, you know, what is happening right now in theaters is unprecedented, and you know, it's important what is happening right now in theaters as well, because all these speculations have been happening since the last 6 months that Hollywood films have taken over, and do the Bollywood films, do they really have the steam to really just come up with those big numbers? And Sultan is literally showing the day, and what is being said that the way it's going right now, it's going to be like 30 crore weekend actually per day. Like say from here till Sunday, every day is going to be like a 30 crore thing, which is like a really rare thing to happen. क्या कहना है आपका with these kind of expectations and the 100% positive response that is there from people?
See, honestly, numbers, when your film gets numbers, it's always very empowering. Like how you said, I had no idea that it will be the first film which is going to do these 30
I've read it today, and the way it is trending, it looks like that.
See, what I'm most happy with, if I believe so, is that the response to the film has been very strong. The word of mouth, people, the kind of messages that they've sent me, the kind of messages they've sent to Adi, that's the most empowering thing. You know, definitely over a period of time, the pie at the box office has grown. So there is a huge section of audience that has grown, the number of cinemas have grown, the number of prints have grown. So the numbers are bound to come till the time when people come into the theater, they like what they're seeing. This has happened before, this is happening now, it's going to happen in future. So as a filmmaker, I think my responsibility finishes, or like any filmmaker's responsibility finishes when the film goes into the theater. What happens with the film from there is what audience get out of it. You know, I was very anxious and nervous just before the release of the film because I had no idea what Sultan would be. It was very anticipated film. It was one of the most anticipated film of the year. When you make a film with Salman Khan, with YRF as a banner, you know, everything becomes larger than life. When then your trailer comes out and people lap onto the trailer and say, wow, what a trailer, then the song comes out. So everything kinds of builds up. What I was very happy with, that when the content works, it creates a different kind of frenzy with an audience. So what is happening right now, I think, is that there was this hunger for a Salman Khan film with an audience, and when they went inside and watched the film, that kind of got satisfied, you know. Like a lot of people said that, yeah, you matched the hype of the film.
Exactly.
I think
maybe better as well.
Yeah.
Maybe. You know, I personally feel, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think it's your best film by far a distance from whatever you've done so far.
Thank you.
In terms of the emotional content, the way you've handled, please continue.
Thank you. So I think that is where, as a filmmaker, your responsibility finishes. I think Indian audience is one of the most simplest audience. You know, like how you said that right now Hollywood films are kind of becoming more popular with an audience. Exactly. But you have to also see that not all Hollywood films are becoming popular. It's the good Hollywood films that are becoming popular. Like Jungle Book is a beautiful film. It's a good film. I watched it, my father watched it, my friends watched it, but it didn't happen with Independence Day. You know, it didn't happen with just another film that was a big film that came, which was, I think, a Star Trek, or you know, one more
Batman and
yeah. So the thing is that it's about whether when you sit in the theater for those 2.5 hours, is that film engaging you or not engaging you?
Absolutely.
And language is not a barrier. Means if you see Sairat, which is a Marathi film, has done phenomenal business.
Absolutely.
Just because it is a good film. That's it. I think if you make a good film, the Indian audience will like it. Any audience in the world will like it. You know, right now when I came into office, distribution team told me that film is even doing phenomenally in Middle East and
Overseas,
UK.
yes, overseas.
So that's the answer. Means if audience will like a film, it will do good business.
In fact, we've done a public opinion in New Jersey, in USA, and the way people are reacting to it, it's like outstanding actually. You know, वो चेहरे पे दिख जाता है. अगर आपको picture पसंद आई तो आपके चेहरे पे दिख जाता है. Amir Khan feels that if any movie can break the record of PK, then it's going to be Sultan.
I think
He's loved it actually.
He really liked it. Where he sent me a message. He called Adi. I think it's really gracious of him. I think they're seniors. You know, I have watched their films when I was in school. You know, when Ghulam came, when Maine Pyar Kiya came, I was in school. So when you watch these stars, you know, when you are no one, when I'm from Dehradun, you know, a small town, no connection with films.
Sure.
And that is where I've seen those films, sitting with my school friends, college friends, my best friends in Dehradun, who've come especially to watch a Salman Khan film because we were all die-hard Salman Khan fans.
Absolutely.
When Karan Arjun came, I was in class, I think 9th or 10th, you know, and we bunked from school to go and watch Salman Khan films, not only Karan Arjun, Auzar, Veer Gati. That was the time I was growing up, you know.
Okay.
You know, and that there was one song where he says, I love you, I love you, I love you, you know. There was a famous song in the desert with Salman looking just too good looking with blue aviators and models. And we used to dance, you know, or in the theatre, or we used to just watch it and say, look at that star here. And all three of them, whether it was Amir, Shah Rukh or Salman, had that quality about him. So it feels special, you know, when today when you make that film and the same star who you were a fan when he was doing Ghulam or Rangila, you know, tells you something, it just becomes special. You know, he sent me a very sweet message, and my only reply to that was, sir, I'm very happy that you liked it, and whenever you have time and we meet next, we will talk about it, because there's so much of learning, you know, because there's no, I always believe that there is no tod to experience. The experience counts the most, and they are very experienced, and when there is a pat on your back, it only pushes you a little ahead and says that okay, you can move forward from here and do something more.
Absolutely. And now many times it happens, we've seen it many times, that the event films which do like big business at the box office, quite a few times, most of the time somehow they get bad reviews. But Sultan has got very good reviews from even the hard-nosed critics. They've really liked the film, and they've really spoken about it and appreciated it as well. Do you find it like in a way like a bonus for that not merely the audience, even the critics, they are liking the movie, and even at the end of the day they are audience as well. They don't have
exactly. So I think you've answered it, because I feel that they don't have an agenda. Definitely. From the trailers, from the songs, it was very evident what kind of film was it. When people came into theatres, whether it was audience or critics, I think they got more than that. You know, because a lot of people told me after the trailer, yaar tumne to puri kahani de di, picture mein kya dikhaoge? And I think I was at that point of time saying that wait, because I think there is more to that. There is a lot of subtext to it. There's more story. And what made, I think, Sultan special, even when you say hard-nosed critics, was more than my effort, Salman's effort. You know, it's very evident that he's carried the film on his shoulders from first frame to the second frame, and Anushka has been the sole backbone of that journey. You know, so when your main characters in a plot kind of drive the film, I think, whether you are a critic or you're an audience, you will still connect to it, you know. Sultan is a very simple story. It's full of cliches. Means I'm not saying that I was trying to tell a story that was never told before. It's a classic underdog story, and a classic underdog story will have the same beats. We've seen that in Rocky, we've seen that in Raging Bull, we've seen that in Invictus, we've seen that in Chak De. Means any sports film which is an underdog story has the same beats, you know. But it's the characters. You know, it's the actors who bring a lot of their personal, you know, experience into those characters and then take it forward. One of the, I think, strengths of Sultan is Salman and Anushka's performance.
Absolutely, absolutely. Both of them are outstanding.
Yeah, and when that happens, when that connect happens, then people don't look at the smaller things, you know. It's bizarre, I'm going to quote that when Salim uncle saw the film in the edit, he came out and his eyes were moist and he was clapping when he sees that little child in the end. It is in the edit, so me and Adi went, he just jumped onto Adi and hugged him and said, yaar, बहुत ही अच्छी picture बनाई है तुमने. And then he hugged me and then I asked him, sir, कोई छोटी छोटी चीज़ें हैं कुछ? तो he said, छोटी चीज़ों का कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता. He said, जब हमने शोले लिखी तो रमेश सिप्पी ने पिक्चर बनाई, हम पिक्चर देख के आए और कहानी क्या थी कि गब्बर एक बहुत बड़ा डाकू है, पुलिस गब्बर को ढूंढ रही है, गब्बर कहीं मिल नहीं रहा है, गब्बर कहीं छुपा बैठा है. लेकिन जब आप पिक्चर देखो तो कभी बसंती बोल रही है गब्बर मैं आ रहा हूँ, कभी धर्मेंद्र बोल रहा है गब्बर मैं आ रहा हूँ, कभी ठाकुर बोल रहा है गब्बर मैं आ रहा हूँ. तो सबको तो पता है गब्बर कहाँ है. जब सभी जा रहे हैं गब्बर में आ रहा हूँ करके, मतलब ऑडियंस ने कभी वो क्वेश्चन ही नहीं किया, बिकॉज यू आर विद द इमोशन ऑफ द फिल्म.
एब्सोल्युटली.
तो जब सबको ही गब्बर पड़ता था तो पुलिस क्यों नहीं जाके पकड़ रही थी?
बिल्कुल सही बात है.
बट नो वन क्वेश्चन दैट टिल नाउ. ही सेड इट्स सच अ बेसिक मिस्टेक एंड एनीवन कैन क्वेश्चन दैट मिस्टेक. और हमें बाहर से पता था, लेकिन क्योंकि वो किरदार का इमोशन इतना स्ट्रॉन्ग था कि जब वो बोलते थे गब्बर में आ रहा हूँ, पीपल वर नॉट क्वेश्चनिंग इट. ही सेज हाँ, ही विल गो टू गब्बर. सो दीज आर स्मॉल थिंग्स which any film will have, but you have to look at the larger picture and what do you get out of the theatre with. And I think it's a part of a learning process. It's my third film. I'm also learning. I've learned something from Mere Brother Ki Dulhan. I learned something from Gunde. I learned something from Sultan. And there is no guarantee that every film will going to do that, because it's a part of our business. Absolutely. You know, we're bound to make good films or bad films. We're bound to make flops. We're bound to make hits. Sometimes a flop will give you a lot of satisfaction because you think I made the truest film. Maybe it's not connected with an audience, and sometimes the film that makes a lot of money at box office, you will say, but this is not my best work, yaar. It just made that money. I think so that is all a part of journey. I think one needs to take a step forward with every film and move on.
What are you talking about what Salim Saab said? You know, in fact, when I came out after watching the movie, I just tweeted about that as well, that जिन चीज़ों पे, जो फिल्मी चीज़ों पे जिस पे मतलब हम लोग हंसते थे, और आज हम ही वही कर रहे हैं कि दैट वी आर एक्चुअली रूटिंग फॉर सुल्तान, वी आर प्रेइंग फॉर सुल्तान इन द थिएटर. यू एक्चुअली कि यार इसका हो जाना चाहिए, दिस शुड गेट सॉर्टेड समहाउ. यू नो, यू आर डूइंग दैट एंड यू आर एक्चुअली गेटिंग मूव्ड. I've cried while watching the movie. I've laughed, and it's like a very organically all that has happened, which is I think exactly what Salim Saab said as well. Everyone, I think almost everyone is saying that this is Salman Khan's best performance. Would you agree with that?
Well, I don't think so. I think there's a lot more to come out of that man. But I would say that it is...
You know, the harshest of his critics, they've said that what they liked about the performance was that he's actually acting very well. This is something that the...
Well, I will not agree with that. Why I would say is that when I saw Khamoshi, when I saw Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam, when I saw Karan Arjun, when I saw even Maine Pyar Kiya, I thought there was a very big actor there. That is why he's a star there. Acting, it's very difficult to so-called explain acting. What do you call acting? The most important thing for an actor when you are there on that screen is to have a connect with an audience. He has a connect.
No, absolutely. He's always had a connect. He's always had a connect.
What has happened is, I'll tell you exactly what has happened is, because what happened with Sultan is the way the character of Sultan was written on paper was very strongly author-backed. You know, the kind of graph that he goes through his personal and professional life and how he comes out of it. I just think that Salman has performed it very personally. You know, so the connect is even more. And the credit can go to a lot of people. I'm not saying that I should not get a credit for it, or Salman should not get a credit for it, or the music should not get a credit for it, or the cinematographer shouldn't get a credit for it. I think it's just come together really, really nicely, you know. And what I keep telling him all the time is that, you know what, I always compare him with Sehwag, you know, in cricket. That the time he doesn't strike the ball, he can just go out. But when he starts playing by afternoon 3 o'clock, you just realize, "Arey, Sehwag ne 300 maar diye kya?" You know, where is that timing coming from? Because he is like that. You know, when he starts batting, then there is no tomorrow. There's no other star like that. And you know, just now, you know, your camera person told me that KT Chandan mein to dhamal hai sir. That dhamal is nothing else. It's just Sehwag hitting and Salman hitting those sixes left, right and center. That is the charisma of that star. That is the sheer connect that he has with an audience. And when that gets supported with a good text, when that gets supported with a good character, and when that gets supported for a cause, and I'm not saying a social cause, a personal cause, his personal vendetta, his personal beliefs, his personal redemption, it becomes larger.
See, you still haven't answered my question, Mr. Zafar. जो फिल्म में आपका एक है कि that गुरूर जो है उसको आदमी को दबाना चाहिए और वही सबसे बड़ी है, हाँ, तो आप उसको literally practice भी कर रहे हैं कहीं ना कहीं, वो जो कि एक बहुत अच्छी बात भी है. You know, I'll give you examples why I personally feel and why many people feel that this is Salman's best performance. That scene in front of the mirror when he looks at himself and the physicality and just the way he grapples with his shirt and what he's doing, you know, it is outstanding scene by any standards, by any actor. I think it's an outstanding scene. That entire it's very, very naturally done. And even the physical transformation that he has gone through the entire film, it's not easy thing to do, and it is coming with the entire expressions, which is brilliant. So kahin na kahin, Kabir Khan told me that this is Bajrangi Bhaijaan is Salman's best performance. So kuch agar comment clear terms without
I'm not being modest about his performance or anything, but I would say, like, because you asked, is this his best performance? I say that is what I tell everyone.
He has said it's my most challenging film.
Yes,
which I would say.
Yes. Which I would say, and I will back that up, that it was his challenging film. Today, in retrospect, because film is getting that love from the audience and from the critics and at the box office, I would say that that challenge that he went through is got accepted by an audience. So it's empowering for me, it's empowering for him that tomorrow, because it took me time to convince him to do that scene. It took me. The only scene that he was scared on paper was the scene when he looks at himself.
And it's the best scene, I think. It's the best scene.
And it took me 3 months to convince him when I started shooting that set. When that small box, the changing room, was put up in Karjat in the beginning of the film. Then it went to Film City. Then it came to YRF because we were shooting some sections here. Then it came to another set in Film City. And he kept saying, "Yaar, ye main nahi kar raha hu, ye main kaise karunga." And I knew, because you know, the best thing, or I would say the most special thing that I've taken away from Sultan, apart from everything that the film has given me, is mine and his relationship. You know, he and I have a very beautiful bond, and it's much more not as a director-actor bond. It's much more as an older brother and a younger brother bond.
Absolutely.
And I think when people are saying that, you know, a lot of senior people like David Uncle and David Dhawan and Subhash Ghai, they all said, "Yaar, kitni special film hai ye Salman ke liye." I think that is my relationship with him, because you know, his and my understanding was always like I used to very honestly say कि भाई ये तो करना है, अब कब करना है वो आपके ऊपर है, but you will have to do it.
नहीं बिल्कुल, I think it's definitely a very good scene.
So he said, "Yaar, you know." And I'll tell you the story of that scene, that one day he came up to me and I was pursuing him from 3-4 days, and he says, "Bhai karna hai wo scene, ab ye set bhi khatam ho raha hai, I will have to do it, last aa gaya." One day he came to me that aaj wo scene karenge, by himself, without me telling him. I said, "Superb." I said, "Set ready karo." We lit it, everything. It's supposed to be in Fatih's Den, but actually it's shot in the middle of forest because it's a small container, you know. So we were carrying this container in the truck everywhere we were traveling. So we bring it in the middle of forest. Arthur matches the lighting, who's the TOP, figuring out through the trees how to match the lighting, because the lighting continuity is off the den where, you know, Huda's character trains him. Finally he said, "Haan, roughly match ho gaya." He goes and works out for 2 hours. He worked out like a beast for 2 hours and he came so fit. I said, "Bhai, how will we do? I can see your abs. I can see your shoulders popping out." He said, "Wo tu mujh pe chhod de, because that's my fight with mine. Because I'm known for the kind of body I own." And I knew what exactly was going in his head, because it was a little conflict within himself that he was fighting to do before that scene, because he knew emotionally it's the most challenging scene on paper. He was feeling that emotion, but for him to stand in front of the mirror of 300 people standing around and show a belly, which he had because he's done that for the film. He didn't wanted it to kind of not look just that. So he said कि मैं पहलवान था, मैंने छोड़ा, तब भी I'm gonna look big from top. So
that he does.
His top, he's done like heavy reps of chest. So his chest is huge, but he has a big tight belly. You know, like if you are a pehlwan and you've wrestled,
it happens, yeah.
You will not get a push belly. You will get a tight belly. You know, because by the end of it, you've let yourself go. And that's the day I said, yeah, he's such a smart thinking actor. You know, and the way he did the scene, and that shirt ka phasna was a complete miracle. It's a magic, what you call it in a sense.
Okay.
It was never intended. It was never intended. I said that this is what you see. You see from your peripheral vision into the mirror. You realize, yes, I am dead. Then you kind of break down. Then you say, this suit I will not fit. Let me wear the shirt. And he was supposed to cry when he says, I'm dead person on the back. But he didn't cry there. Then he went for the shirt, and when he struggled with the shirt, he used that frustration of struggling into breaking down. He's just created and it's one shot.
That's a really good
It's
scene.
2 minute long, one single shot. And he performed it, and he understood everything. You know, he had to take the mitti out, he had to wear the shirt, he had to take the mitti from the bag, which he's struggling later to open, you know, while crying, put it in the hand and leave. And we did it in the first take of that first shot, and I was like shocked. I said, should I take another take? Should I not take another take? I've got my take. It was special. And he came out and his eyes was watering. There is no glycerin, nothing. And he looked at me and he just broke down. He just broke down. And the whole unit was like on the back foot that what is this man doing? So he kind of built that emotion over 3 months. And then he brought it out in one scene.
But it's special. You know, that one scene, it's worth going back and watching that movie. I'm watching it tonight once again with my family, actually.
Thank you.
We've already booked the tickets. Anushka Sharma. I think it's one of her most special films. I think the way she has performed. You know, it is generally expected that in a Salman Khan film, heroines के लिए ज़्यादा कुछ करने के लिए होता नहीं है. But it's like a very, very good role for her. It's like she is the entire, catalyst that drives the entire film, and she's looked very good. She's looked like an athlete, and she's performed brilliantly. So, your thoughts on Anushka Sharma?
I think I was very fortunate and lucky that Anushka came on board, because for the longest time we actually started filming the film without the girl. You know, I've shot the climax. You know, in the climax when he's down in the second fight and that girl appears, is shot. Salman's access is shot without the girl, you know. So it's a trick which no one will get to know until the time you're a technical person. But Salman has emoted without knowing who the girl is in the film. And it's a story, he used to joke around and say, अरे जो भी लड़की होगी न्यू कमर के लिए भी एक्सप्रेशन दे देता हूँ, इस लड़की के लिए दे देता हूँ, इस लड़की के लिए, और ट्रस्ट में ये चिपक जाएगा. So, you know, that's his madness and that's his dilemma, and that smile that he brings as the hand covers, you know, it says so many stories. Absolutely. So when people say that he's not a thinking actor, I think he's a really smart thinking actor. Coming to Anushka, for the longest time we wanted a new girl. Why? Because I thought that the new fresh pairing, and if you have a very good new girl, always works. Second of all, because there was a physical demand to the role, wrestling, this, that. I thought that, you know, she will have a lot of time on her hand. So automatically we would be able to train her. We auditioned, Shanu Sharma, who's the casting director, auditioned almost 120 girls. I saw auditions, five auditions a day, and I couldn't find one. And then one day, Adi and I were talking, and Adi said, out of all the choices that you want, who do you think suits the best to the Aarfa's character? And I said, I think I'm going to go with Anushka. He said, are you sure? Because her physical, you know, she's a very petite looking girl. Wrestlers are like, you know, a little more stocky and stuff. I said, no, all the research that I've done, wrestling is a weight category game. It's not about being bulk. You know, if she's a 54 kg girl, she will fight a 54 kg girl in her category.
Right.
Then Adi called Anushka, and I went and narrated Anushka. And this is a thing.
Easy. This is a physical sport.
It's a physical sport.
It's a physical sport.
You know, you're getting touched, you're pushing someone, you're getting thrown, you're getting up. I said, this is what this country stands for, where women and men are together, neck to neck, together in contemporary scenario of the country and moving ahead. And that is where the character of Aarfa was born. And when she saw those videos, she was like, wow, yeah, this is like an introduction of a hero in the film. And then she trained extensively for a good 2.5 months, and I hope people like her wrestling in the film.
No, they're loving it. You know, apart from the fact that the reviews have been very, very positive, I was reading one of the, write-up actually on a website. I didn't entirely agree with it, but I'll still share a few thoughts with you. There are a few criticism about the entire Jat dialogue that Randeep Hooda says in the film. That in fact, Jati jo hai batane ka, maybe it was not required. And there was some criticism about Anushka as well, about Salman as well, which I felt was really unfair actually. What do you have to say about the entire Jat element, because that is something that quite a few people have taken note of.
Well, there's nothing. It's a like if you go to Punjab and say Sardarji, there's nothing wrong in that. The film is set in Haryana. There is a strong Jat population there. He comes from one of those families. So it's just simple. There is no connotation to it in terms of why is that word getting used, or is it about because it's a community, or it's about a caste or anything. It's nothing to do with that. It's to do with कि अगर आप किसी भी मुस्लिम सेटअप में जाएंगे और कोई बोलेंगे आइए खान साहब आइए, Khan is also a caste. You're not referring to any other political connotation or a social connotation in that.
Right.
So it just finishes there.
Okay, and it was also being said that that all those posters which are there about that Beti Padhao and all those things. So somewhere Haryana is also associated with the fact that in terms of child sex ratio, the statistics are not good, and even in terms of the way women are treated somehow in Haryana, it's not a good record. Somewhere it is like a bit of a clean-up sort of act. So how do you react to that?
Well, I would like, that's the strength of the film. You know, when in a mainstream film, you try and say something. You have to say it in a way that it's not preachy. You have to say it in a way that it kind of makes the point clear. And I always believe that when the biggest superstars of the country bring that in front of an audience, it just cuts through even more. You know, it's bizarre. I'm from Delhi University, which is a very politically active university. And a lot of my college friends sent me a message that the voice of the girl in the film is very, very strong. It's not that Anushka's character is strong. It's to do with, you know, when Anushka says that, you know, जिस दिन अब वक्त बदल रहा है, बेटियां खड़ी होंगी,
बहुत अच्छा डाला.
You know, it kinds of pushes what that character and the socio-political scenario of that gaon, that village, that state is heading to. You know, when Salman asked him, तो तुझे क्या लगे छोरा होगा या छोरी? You know, and she says, क्यों तुझे क्या चाहिए? And he says, छोरा ही होगा. मैंने तो उसका नाम भी सोच लिया है. That is also very typical of an Indian man to say.
Absolutely.
Okay, you push a bracket there. Then the same character, when goes through redemption, comes back and says, "तू मुझे बेटी दे दे." And in the end,
आप picture की सारी चीजें मत
खोलिए.
Sorry. Also spoken about the ending part. You shouldn't actually.
So you can always edit that out. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that they were all very conscious attempt to bring all those. See, when you set up a film, I'll even give you an example of my own film, which is Gunde, which was about two illegal immigrants which were of Hindu identity, which migrated from Bengal, Bangladesh into Calcutta. There are a lot of people like that. The film was about them. So if I don't talk about that, or if I don't talk about what that state stands for in Haryana right now, then as a director, I'm shying away from the reality. And when we have the voice, when we can say those things without offending anyone, and yet set a, you know, example कि यार इस पिक्चर में ना इन्होंने ये बात कहने की कोशिश करी है, maybe they didn't make an issue about it, but there was a thought that they wanted an audience to get. I think that's the biggest thing because I always believe that आप अगर किसी को कड़वी दवाई पिलाओगे ना कोई नहीं पिएगा.
नहीं बिल्कुल एब्सोल्युटली
आपको जो बात कहनी है आपको वो बात उस तरह से कहनी चाहिए कि आदमी वो बात सुन ले और उसका इफेक्ट चाहे उसे थिएटर में ना हो पर घर जाके हो.
No, absolutely. You know, I personally felt after watching the film that the entire message that comes across as far as the girl child is concerned through this movie and what Salman says, because when Salman says something, it's something that millions of people, they follow it. I think something of this sort, it does far more for compared to many of the schemes that come along that are more on picture or advertisements and they never become practical. This I think can do far more for the girl child than many of those schemes. You know, one more stereotype that you break through this film, which I personally felt, is the fact that you're having the name Sultan and you're coming on Eid, but you've not utilized. You spoke about the cliches, but I would say that you've broken the cliches. That's my personal opinion, in the sense that you're not using the stereotypical things that are associated with Muslims. You're not having that skull cap that he has to have. You're not having that taweez that he has to do before going for his fights and everything. You know, which is wonderful. And he does like a namaste, which is a very Indian thing to do. It's not pertaining to any particular religion. It's a very Indian thing to do. So somewhere you are giving a very, which is something which is what Indian Muslims are all about, that they're very mainstream and they're very different from anywhere else in the world somewhere. Will you agree with that entire thing?
Well,
you're breaking the stereotype somewhere.
Well, that
skull cap तो मुझे कहीं भी नजर नहीं आई, फादर के ऊपर भी नजर नहीं आई.
नहीं क्यों पहनेंगे?
ग्रैंडमदर भी बहुत प्रोग्रेसिव है.
हाँ, और क्यों पहनेंगे? मतलब देखिए,
मैक्सिमम लोग नहीं पहनते.
हाँ, और आप किसी भी, मेरे वालिद साहब, मेरी अम्मा बहुत प्रैक्टिसिंग मुसलमान है, लेकिन खाना खाते हुए मेरे अब्बा स्कल कैप नहीं पहनते, वो नमाज पढ़ते हुए ही पहनते. वो घर में काजल लगा के नहीं बैठते. हमारे हर डिनर मील में रूह अफ़ज़ा नहीं चलता. तो जब ये सब चीजें नहीं हैं, तो मैं अपनी फिल्म में वो क्यों दिखाऊं?
Right. But mostly it happens. Mostly it happens, which is incorrect.
It is how Muslims over a period of time has been projected in Indian films.
Correct.
ठीक है भाई, कि मुसलमान किरदार है, इसको एक सबसे पहले ना एक तावीज़ दो, इसके हाथ में कलावा बांध दो और इसकी आंख में काजल दो, आदमी ना पहले ही पता चल जाएगा ये मुसलमान है.
करेक्ट.
ठीक है, जब जंजीर पिक्चर आई जिसमें आई लव प्राण साहब किरदार, बट he was always in a pathani. He has mehndi in his hair, you know, and he's wearing a topi. शेर खान का किरदार.
करेक्ट.
अब मैंने बचपन में देखा है कि भाई ये जो किरदार है ये अफगानी पठान है शेर खान, इसकी जंजीर पिक्चर में अमिताभ से फाइट होती है और ये भी स्ट्रॉन्ग है, ये भी स्ट्रॉन्ग है. अब हमारा इवोल्यूशन उस सिनेमा पे हुआ है तो हमें लगा कि हर मुसलमान जो डिपिक्ट होना चाहिए वो ऐसे डिपिक्ट होना चाहिए. बट यार कितने मुसलमान हैं? मतलब अगर मैं अपने हिंदू दोस्तों के घर में जाता हूँ और उनकी दादी बैठी हुई होती हैं या उनके अब्बा बैठे हुए होते हैं, तो मैं ये तो बोलता हूँ ना, राम राम अंकल.
और कोई बुराई भी नहीं है उसमें.
कोई बुराई नहीं.
That's a plural culture that you have.
जब वो लड़का मेरे घर आता है तो वो मेरी अम्मी को देख के बोलता है सलाम अलैकुम आंटी.
राइट.
तो ये तो हिंदुस्तान है.
That's the plural culture that
is. ऐसा नहीं है, मैं पंजाब में शूटिंग कर रहा था, सरदार जी खड़े थे, मैं उन्हें क्या बोलता, सलाम अलैकुम सरदार जी. मैं सत श्री अकाल ही बोलूंगा सर.
बिल्कुल, absolutely.
So I am saying that why is it so difficult? Like when people are saying, sir, this is a new thing. It's not a new thing. This is India. So if a film represents this country,
which generally has not been shown by movies, and I think we're seeing it through Sultan somehow.
Yeah, but I think these are the things. I think your feelings and how you look at the world as a filmmaker, as a director, and as the team which puts the film together, that beliefs need to come in the product,
Absolutely.
And I have kind of come to terms that I will not shy away from the reality in this country, the way Muslims are living, the kind of respect that they have, the kind of brotherhood they have with the people is phenomenal. It's phenomenal, and that is what makes India the way India is, and one should respect that, and one needs to make it even more stronger.
Absolutely.
And that representation till the time doesn't happen in the mainstream cinema, that means we are shying away from that.
Absolutely, absolutely. The entire Haryanvi element, many people were totally surprised by the fact that the way you have utilized Haryanvi and authentically. I read one piece that I was talking about, which was slightly critical of Haryanvi, but I don't agree to that, because maximum जो चीज़ें मैंने पढ़ी हैं, जो मैंने महसूस किया, I think the Haryanvi has come out very well. Even Salman or anyone else in the movie, the way they are speaking. Do you feel that it's something which is like really novel as well because you're actually taking a risk as well that आपका जो फिल्म बहुत हद तक हरियाणवी में है and it's something that is but still it कहीं पर ऐसा लगता नहीं है that ज़बान कहीं पर बैरियर कहीं से ऐसा लगता नहीं but you nuances आपने हरियाणवी के बहुत अच्छे से आपने यूज़ किए
या हमने पूरा ट्राई वो इसीलिए किया क्योंकि आई जस्ट फील कि जब किसी जगह पे आप फिल्म सेट करो और अगर उसकी वहाँ की ज़बान इस्तेमाल करो तो फिल्म के अंदर एक अलग तरह की फ्रेशनेस आ जाती है
बिल्कुल
और कोशिश ये थी कि इसीलिए हमने रेवाड़ी में फिल्म सेट करी विच इज़ जस्ट 1.5 hours अवे फ्रॉम दिल्ली दैट इट्स अ बॉर्डर हरियाणा सो द हरियाणवी इज़ नॉट दैट क्लिश जिसे हिंदी में बोलते हैं कि इट्स नॉट अ वेरी हार्ड कोर हरियाणवी क्योंकि विद इन हरियाणा यू विल फाइंड 6-7 डायलेक्ट्स यू नो फिर कम्युनिटी वाइज डायलेक्ट्स भी बदलते हैं जगह वाइज डायलेक्ट भी बदलते हैं तो हमने उसको एक बॉर्डर लाइन हरियाणवी हिंदी रखा ऑल्सो बिकॉज सलमान इज सच अ बिग स्टार यू नो एंड डाउन द लाइन वी आर मेकिंग अ फिल्म फॉर पैन इंडिया आई वॉन्टेड कि अगर आप गुजरात में भी बैठे हो महाराष्ट्र में भी बैठे हो तो हो सकता है आपको हर वर्ड समझना है लेकिन आपको मोटा मोटा सब समझ में आ जाए और मुझे हमेशा लगता है यू नो मेरी मराठी बहुत अच्छी नहीं है लेकिन कभी भी मुझे कोई इंटरेस्टिंग वर्ड आता है लगता है अब जैसे मुझे मैं बॉम्बे आया तो मुझे पता ही नहीं था कंटाल क्या होता है और मुझे किसी ने बोला भाई कंटाल आ रहा है तो मुझे लगता है कोई गाड़ी है ट्रक है क्या है भाई कंटाल आ रहा है तो when I got to know कंटाल का मतलब क्या होता है I said yeah this is a very fascinating word so tomorrow if I make a film which is set in Maharashtra I'm going to pick up those words and the people in north will enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
context,
that is,
from the context
that is again, you know, one of the most fascinating thing about our country is that within so much of divisions which are about cultures, which are about languages, which are about religions, which are about so many things, but still we unite and stand.
Absolutely.
So I was watching the film in Chandan, which is and with a hardcore Maharashtrian audience. But every time Salman was cracking a joke where he says कि यू नो लुगाई छोरी लुगाई बनी नहीं पर खून चूसण पहले लाग रही है पीपल आर विस्लिंग पीपल आर बिकॉज दे आर अंडरस्टैंडिंग यार ये अच्छा वर्ड है करेक्ट टाइमिंग है कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग लाइन है so all those things I think kind of connect with the audience.
Gaiety is like a festival actually. Gaiety is like you know when my team was doing the public opinion at Gaiety I just called up just talk and I heard people shrieking in the background. I heard people shrieking actually. Okay, we'll you know I have many questions for you, but we'll quickly come down to a few more. The support cast. Kumud Mishra, I think, is outstanding. Amit Saad is very good. I think he's looked very very earnest. Randeep Hooda, it's a cameo, but I think he's outstanding. He plays a big part. And Anant, he's outstanding. The friend, Salman's friend. I think he is outstanding. He is outstanding. So if you can please speak about these guys. And the grandmom as well. I think she was there in People Life.
Yeah, she was there in People Life. She was also there in Swadesh.
Right.
You know, the idea was that it was a very conscious decision that we were taking in the time when we were casting that we're going to put Salman into the mix of actors. Apart from Hooda, everyone that he's worked is a new guy. You know, and knowing Salman, he loves challenges. You know, when you throw something at him and you say, "भाई नहीं हो रहा क्या? चलो दूसरी तरह से." He says, "कैसे नहीं हो रहा? करूँगा." You know, that's what I call him. He's a sea biscuit. You know, you've seen Sea Biscuit, the film that, you know, there's a horse. He runs, and then you have to bring another horse right next to him. The horse judges, yeah, this horse is fast, and now let me know how fast I can do. That's how Salman is. You know, he's that horse that if you tell him, "Bhai, you can't run this," he said, "How can I not run this?" You know, and then he shoots. So the idea was to throw him in the mix of actors which he's never worked with, who throw things at him and he responds to them. You know, half of this casting is a first time casting. You know, Kumud Mishra, definitely Saad and Anant have still done little work. All the pahlwans are real. He got along with those pahlwans like anything. You know that fat guy Pawan who says, "Aaja, tere se na hui." You know, जो भाग रहा है उसके पीछे. All new guys. The Raja Pahlwan, the guy who comes and says, "मेरे बेटे ने ये बनाया आपके लिए." All are real pahlwans.
That was a good one, yeah.
All real pahlwans. They have not even spoken a line on a stage play. Forget they were shooting here. No idea of continuity. No idea of anything. And Salman loved them. Salman was teaching them continuity. And they were saying, "भाई हमें क्या पता, हम इसके बाद तो फिर पहलवानी करने जाने वाले, हमें क्या सीखनी continuity क्या होती है, आप बस हमारी तरह से कर दो." And Salman ने कहा, "भाई मेरी तरह से करो, ये नहीं समझ करेंगे." So things like that, and you know, he is just too charming with people. You know, whether it's boys, whether it's girls, whether it's pahlwans, whether it's dadi. Dadi has slapped him 4 times, and he says, "यार तुम करते रहो because दादी की भी लाइन नहीं याद हो रही और मुझे भी लाइन याद नहीं हो रही हरियाणवी में because दादी is from UP."
Yeah, that's true. She's from Lucknow.
She's from Lucknow. So all those things, but I think, you know, I just believe that when things just come together magically, then everything just flows. And the best part of Sultan has been the experience of making the film, and the support of the cast, the support of the crew has just been phenomenal.
Amir yesterday at his house spoke about the entertainment element, that entertaining बहुत है, and somewhere the music I think plays a big role in that. You have like 440 volt or Jag Bhumi, I think it has come out very well. Almost all the songs I think in the context of the film they are really beautiful, and they have that entire mitti ki mehak kahin na kahin, in fact. So how much do you think that the music has been, even the background score I think is playing that guitar bit that comes into it. So what do you have to say about that?
Well, when you make a mainstream Indian film, it's not complete till the time there is a musical album there. And I am a big fan of songs in the film. You can see that in my early 2 films. So I was very clear that I wanted a certain kind of music in this film. But the idea was just we wanted to approach it a little more differently and pick most of the folk tunes and then kind of score them in a more contemporary way. Like if you see Baby Go Bass is like a Haryanvi disco song.
Yeah,
you know, like if you ever go to Haryana and you go to a wedding, the kind of DJs play the songs, Haryanvi songs, you know, dupchi dupchi. You understand that's the sound that song has, you know. 440 again is a song which is based on a
nice
folk
visualization actually.
Thank
in
you.
That kisan, that kheton ka bit. Even you know that, I'm sorry to interrupt, that in that training of Salman and the way it's been done in the kheton mein jis tarike se kiya hai, you know, that's beautiful, man. It's like it really pumps you up as an audience because ये सब चीजें हमने देखी नहीं है पहले कि आप वर्कआउट जो हैं वो आप उससे कर रहे हैं, which is something that you
तो वो उसके पीछे भी the idea was this कि यार वो तो प्रोफेशनल नहीं है, तो वो तो उन्हीं चीज़ों से ट्रेन करेगा जो उसने बचपन से अपनी ज़िंदगी में देखी है, चाहे वो हल है, चाहे वो ट्रैक्टर है, चाहे वो you know अपने खेतों के बीच में उसने छोटा सा पर्सनल अखाड़ा बनाया. Anyway, but the music is a very important part, and also especially when you are telling a love story, because you need to have an eye of a tiger in a film which is a sports film, because you need that one Rise of the Phoenix song which is the title track Sultan. You need one love song in the film which is Jag Bhumi, which is again based on a folk tune, you know. You need Salman Khan audience to have one dancing chartbuster song which is Baby Go Bass and 440. So the thing was that, but all those songs, while writing I wrote those songs in the film. You know, it was not like I wrote elaborately what each situation was, that this boy will gate crash into a wedding because of a girl and there will be a local DJ playing, and that is how one song will start, and there will be one dream song where he started visualizing about the girl. That is how 440 comes in. The thought behind Jag Bhumi was that, you know, modern people think that clubbing is romancing. You know, when you go for a date you say, yeah, let's go to a club. And there is a man who believes that love is much more deeper than just a club, will sing a folk song in a club. You know, with today's generation, who will say, yeah, okay, love can be this simple also. It could be only about, you know, Mausmo ki barish or, you know, Sardi ki
Irshad Khan I think has written very well.
And Irshad Bhai and my, this is the third collaboration, and I think he really understands me very well. He, you know, I give him a brief and he just, you know, just throw these magical words and write something very, very beautiful. And that is, you know, I think somehow Vishal Shekhar, my and Irshad's chemistry kind of worked really well to put that album together.
Absolutely.
And then obviously Salman Khan, you know, he can make everything work.
He's looking damn good. Ali, we are having a few questions from your fans as well, so let's take a few of them. This is Nimra. What is the best moment with Salman and Anushka during the shooting of Sultan?
The best moment of Salman and Anushka, there are a lot of them, I think, but one of the most cuter ones is, you know, there is a song shot in Jag Bhumi when she comes through the rain and she kinds of sits in the razai. He says, you know, he puts the Angiti ki aag on the face, and then SK calls her, and they both go into, you know, into a razai.
That's a very cute scene.
It's a very cute moment. It's a very real moment. And the bizarre thing is, you know, we did several takes of it, but 2 takes, Anushka couldn't fit into the razai and she kept falling from the bed. And as Salman, just looked at her and says, "Kya kar rahe ho? Pahlwan, the bed thodi tod dogi." And almost the bed was broken. So that was one very sweet moment that was there. And SK has this whole sarcastic way of even complimenting people. So he always used to take a dig on Anushka for a lot of the thing. One of the most bizarrest thing which threw Anushka off is there is a very serious scene before he goes to the World Championship where they're both eating when scene.
Right.
And SK. So I was finishing SK's axis, and in the same scene where he says, "Rale ho gaya khana, ja raha hu." He, before getting up, it was Arpita's baby shower. In the same tone, he says, "और वैसे कल मेरी बहन का baby shower है और तुझे invite किया है, आ जाना." In the middle of the shot, and Anushka just saying, "How do I react?" Because I was shooting 2 cameras. So he keeps doing all those things, which kind of always keeps the set intact and vibrant. Yeah.
Okay, this is Deepak from Mumbai. How difficult was it to make Salman as Sultan Ali Khan?
I think it was not difficult. It was my patience, I think, because with SK you have to do everything with lot of love, lot of care. You have to make him understand that you do it your way, but please do what is written on the script. And he did it. He did everything that I asked him to do. I can't ask for anything more.
This is Atif from Kashmir. What was your feeling on the first day of shooting with Salman Khan?
Obviously, I was nervous, but the good thing is that we spent a lot of time before that. I was in his farm when he was training for MMA with all my international crew, and in the farm we spent almost good 2 weeks together before I started filming. So a lot of ice breaking that happens usually on the first meeting happened before that. And the first shot that I ever shot is that the most iconic Sultan shot which is there in the trailer, where he comes, smashes the guy and does this. That was the first shot I ever shot for Sultan with Salman.
Acha.
Yeah. And I think, so it was a correct start. He was happy when he looked at it and says, "Bana lega ladka picture."
Okay, this is Mukesh Bagale from Nasik. While shooting Sultan, you were scared of which thing? Were you scared of something? While
I was definitely scared of a lot of things, The thing is that I always believe that, at least it happens with me, that every time I do a film, I feel it's my first film. I think it happens with most of the filmmakers. But when you have a star which is that big, Salman signed Sultan when he was shooting for Bajrangi, and Bajrangi became a phenomenally big hit, and it raised the bar of good commercial cinema, and obviously I had to match that. I don't know whether Sultan has matched to it or not, but I had to really make sure that I don't pull him down from where he is today. And that was my biggest struggle on this film, that was my biggest challenge. Every night I used to go back after shooting and I used to just close my eyes and rethink whatever I have shot. And that used to make me really, really anxious more than, till 2 days back, when the first trial happened and everyone saw it. Everyone was looking at my face and saying, "Yeah, you made a film with Salman Khan, be happy."
Yeah.
And I was looking, and I looked at myself in the mirror and says, "Why am I looking like a zombie?" But I think that anxiousness is the thing that has kept me alive till now. And now when the film is getting so much love, I am finally getting sleep. I slept for the first time day before yesterday actually for a good 8 hours.
That is good. But honestly, I think at the level of writing, I think it's a very good film.
Thank you.
Both the screenplay as well as the dialogues and all, which is something that personally it appeals to me most. अगर सिर्फ जो वो सब होते हैं ना, बहुत बार आप सिर्फ प्रोजेक्ट्स बनाए जाते हैं और उसके अंदर पंचेस होते हैं और गैग्स होते हैं, वो सब चीज़ें मिक्स एंड मैच करके होते हैं. Then somewhere it doesn't, but if it's flowing, it's flowing. In fact, I tweeted about the fact that you spoke about Sairat, interestingly. I said that it's like a 3-hour film, Sairat, but you feel like watching everything of it and feel like watching it till the end. And this is exactly what happened with me as far as Bajrangi, as far as Sultan is concerned. It's like a 2 hour 50 minutes film. लेकिन वक्त का पता नहीं चलता उसमें. And अगर वो आप कैप्चर कर सकें ऑडियंस को उस तरीके से, then I think nothing can stop it. Nothing can stop it, absolutely.
Thank you.
This is Umesh Punwani from Mumbai. There was a lot of subtext in the film. There were a lot of things hidden under the real scenes. When you started the film, was all this in your mind?
Yeah, obviously, I always believe that a subtext always helps the main text.
Ji.
And when you're doing a film, and especially a mainstream film, and because my main plot is a very thin plot.
Ji.
It's a boy meet girls, boy falls in love, boy gets broken, then he will rise again. It's a very thin line. It's a very classic love story plot. The layering makes it what keeps you together for 2.5 hours. His internal conflict, his external conflict, his physical conflict, the girl, the father of the girl, the tournaments, all of that.
Rural life as well.
Rural life as well, and the political, social scenario that the film is going through, sponsorships, girl trying to rise from a small state to represent that. All of those Kukreja pressure cooker, all those things. And I always feel that we underestimate our audience because I think we are a very evolved audience in terms of filmmaking, film watching. Because when people can ask a question like this, that there are a lot of subtext, means there are so many people who must have felt that.
Bilkul.
So then why are we not giving it to them? Why are we only making those one-line films? And I think that is one thing which kinds of keeps the film moving. Whether he's going to Olympics, whether he's coming to Commonwealth, small nuances, small characters. All those things I think somehow helps the main text.
No, absolutely. This is Rahul from Delhi. What's different between directing Salman and other actors? Are they gonna make part 2? It was an awesome movie. Do you think Sultan can be made into a franchisee?
Well, I think it's too early to answer that question. I don't have anything in my head right now. Let's see. But coming back to the first part of the question, which
Difference
is
between directing Salman and other actors.
I think Salman is the most honest actor that I've worked with till now. I think one of the reasons for that is that he has so much of experience. He has 25 years of experience, so he knows exactly what he needs to do, what his audience wants from him, and that kinds of makes the process of a director little, his involvement into an actor's performance little less. Obviously, you push an actor, okay, I've not got this take, little more, the expressions or, performance or the feel. But when experience comes there, then there is no two ways to that. There is a scene, I don't know whether you remember, when he walks out at interval, from the hospital. There's a blank face. So that's
I remember that very clearly. It's a very unconventional interval.
Yes.
Intervals generally are supposed to be like with a bang or something. It's a very unconventional interval as well.
Yeah. And he did it so plain Jane, simply. And I think that is just experience.
No, absolutely. This is Ahmad from Islamabad, Pakistan. From where did you get the idea of Sultan?
It's a mix of a lot of things. The idea never comes like you're sleeping and suddenly one ray will come and that will make an idea. When I was studying in Delhi University, and I was staying in the hostel, a lot of my closest friends were from Haryana who were into sports. And I think Haryana is a fascinating state. It's a beautiful state. Their language is beautiful. They're entertaining. Their sense of humor is phenomenal because they're all plain Jane, poker face, and they will say a line. The first line when I entered into Delhi University and I was getting ragged, Haryanvi senior asked me, "Ek baat bata chore, kaun se course mein?" I said, "Chemistry honors." He said, "But lag gaya to English honor ka." From the face he said, "Lag gaya to English." So and it's plain Jane.
Right.
So and I said, it's a very fascinating, the comedy, the sense of humor is very fascinating. So that is the part that why the film is set in Haryana. The story kind of originated even before I started shooting Gunde, when Sushil actually went ahead to the finals of 2012 London Olympics. And I thought, and I heard his interviews and I said, yeah, this character is fascinating. पहलवान के ऊपर कहानी क्यों नहीं बना रहे हम, ये तो हमारा sport है. The Pehlwani angle came from there. you know, and then the story got developed over a period of time.
You know, when you say all those dialogues in Haryanvi, you know, it's very apparent that there's an actor in Ali Abbas Zafar as well.
Not at all.
And आप किसी से ही पूछ सकते हैं यहाँ पर, कोई भी आपको बता सकता है that there's an actor in. Can we? Is this something that we can see somehow? Is this something that you like to?
Not right now for sure. YRF has asked me not to talk about me being actor at all.
This is Ahed from Mumbai. What challenges did you face at the scripting stage and while shooting Sultan?
Well, at scripting stage, there were no challenges. Actually, you know, the first thing that I shared with Salman was a 20-page story, which he loved. Then I went away for good 3.5-4 months, wrote it down. He heard the narration, he was fine. There were small changes which I had to do because that was Salman coming and becoming Sultan, which are smaller things, and we locked the script. Shooting the film was very challenging because it's a sports film. Sports film is very different from an action film. Action film, you do a thing once, put 3 cameras, it's done. Sports film, he was wrestling, he was doing MMA, there was a wrestling coach, there was an MMA coach, till the time his body posture was correct. And if you see the wrestling minus the MMA, Salman is so authentic in that. There is one single shot where he walks in with a big wrestler, falls, all of that, choreography, then his body posture, you know, his dao, his picking, lifting. And he himself wanted to look authentic. So I was not even at times taking those calls because I used to say cut and the coach used to stand right next to me. He was wrestling and he used to say, coach, is it fine? And he says, no, your body is not right. He says, okay, let one more time. So those process of shooting a sports action, in anyone who's done a sports film will understand that, is very different, because till the time your posture is correct, your momentum is correct, it's not a perfect shot. Hours for, like, I've shot action in this film, sports action, over 50 days. The total film is shot in 105 days. So half of the number of days we've only shot action.
And that is a lot of days actually.
Yeah, and it's physically taxing. And he's a 50-year-old man who's in a body shape, he has to put on weight, he has to lose weight. So it was severely taxing and challenging for him as for me, because there were certain days his doctor used to call me before he was reaching the set that, sir, आपको पता नहीं है, but अभी मैं galaxy से निकला हूँ and his ankle is not right, his back is hurting, his please can you not do? And he used to come to me and says, आज क्या shoot कर रहे हैं? And I used to, and he said, don't tell Salman that I've called you. And I said, भाई आज छुट्टी करते हैं. So he said, यार तू पहला डायरेक्टर है जो बोल रहा है कि आज छुट्टी करते हैं, क्यों? मैंने कहा नहीं, आप आज रेस्ट ले लो. He said, नहीं, अब आ गया हूँ तो 1-2 घंटा शूट करके जाऊँगा. And that's what I think, you know, when people talk about him that he's moody, he's temperamental, at least he's not shown me that side at all, and I don't know that Salman Khan. And I think even Kabir, and who's done 2 films with him now and is going for a 3rd one, will vouch for that. And I hope that you know, people kind of look at the film and see what effort he's put into the film.
Okay, now Ali Abbas Zafar, you've brilliantly just elucidated all your points in a wonderful manner. You're very diplomatic as well. You've not certain चीज़ों को आपने मुझे clear answers नहीं दिए. मैं आपसे one last time मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूँगा. You are a film buff. You're a commercial filmmaker. It's very apparent from all your films so far. I'm sure that you keep track of box office as well. Do you feel this movie can cross PK? The way it is trending right now, it is trending brilliantly. You have a free run, and they will be like people who are waiting for it. And मैं आज इसको दूसरी बार देख रहा हूँ. So I'm sure that there are a lot of people who would like to watch it like again and again. Do you feel this movie has it in it to cross PK?
You know what, Fareed, honestly, it doesn't matter for me. Because I'm honestly saying that, see, I'm not the producer of the film. It's between Salman, who's a very big star, and Adi, who's the producer of the film. I think my job is done. My job actually was done. That is what in an interview I said, that my job was done even before the film came out. Because at this point of time in my career, I got the biggest superstar of this country to be a part of my film. I asked him to buzz the hair, he buzzed the hair. I asked him to put weight, he put on the weight. I asked him to wrestle, he wrestled. I asked him to speak in Haryanvi, he spoke in Haryanvi. I think what I wanted out of Sultan, I achieved it before the film came out of into theatres. What numbers will do will definitely bring more happiness to me, but the happiness that I have got while making the film is already done. And I'm not going to deny it. And I'm not saying that there is something wrong in making numbers. I think when a film does numbers at box office, I think it deserves that, because that love comes from an audience, the kind of love audience has given me, the industry has given me, people who've messaged me, who's called me, has already made me a little more, anxious and nervous that what's going to happen from here. And I think that's it.
Ali Abbas Zafar, your first two films, this is your first film that is going to cross 100 crores. Both your earlier films have been hits, but this is the first time you will cross 100 crores. And we hope it crosses 350 as well. And so all the best wishes for that. And thank you very much for talking to us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
That's all we have from Bollywood Hungama. Keep on watching.